An Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, and you all know what that means because she is back a little bit tanner than normal, a little less vampire complexion,
A little bit.
but she's back from the Jamaica, bruises all over the freaking backside of her body.
Yeah,
But
man.
we'll get into that here in a minute. But for those of you who don't know, this is An Evening at the Movies, the podcast where we eat the stale popcorn, we drink the watered down sodas. We talk about all our favorite movies and why we love them. And yes, like I said, back from the island of Jamaica, man. Say
Yeah,
hello to
man.
everybody's favorite co-host. Hi, co-host.
Hello. Hello, everyone. I am glad to be here. I don't even know if there was an episode last week, but if there was, I wasn't on it. I was on a plane. And you know what I should have done? And I'm going to do it now. And if you have time, well, you may not. I should have, maybe you can add it later. I should have sent the video so that you could play it for the audience. Um,
Whoa.
but yeah.
Spoiler alert, you may have to freaking hang on and wait for a hot minute, but surprises may or may not happen throughout the episode.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I
Just
just
saying.
got just got back from a little surprise vacay in Jamaica and had a really good time. Have a little bit of an injury. I don't know if we should talk about that now or later, but nothing like last year's trip where I came back with broken bones. This time, it's hopefully just a bruised ego, but got a little hematoma action going on my ass and thigh because I
Uh-huh.
landed pretty hard on a cliff dive into the ocean.
You all will know what we're talking about by the time we say we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies.
Okay,
I promise.
great. So yeah, there's.
I was just waiting for approval to do it because
Oh, so you've already done it. Okay. Yeah, there's.
I had thoughts in my head the second I saw that video, and I was like, that would be amazing to show. But at the same time, it's like I wasn't going to do it unless you were okay with it. So
I posted it on Facebook, so if I post it on Facebook, it's fair game. So anyway, yeah, I am.
exactly. Our listeners want to know all about your vacation time.
It was a good time. It was fun. Lots of drinking, lots of eating, lots of pool time. Not as much ocean time because the beach at this particular resort was very rocky. Um, we actually only got into the ocean twice. Well, three times
But
including our excursion, but we only went to the beach twice at our resort. So
but you got the yearly picture.
I did. I did get the yearly picture. I plan to print them all and make a big collage photo at some point. But anyway. So yeah, I'm here.
I was going to say, weren't you planning on doing something along that line with all
Yeah.
those yearly pictures,
Oh,
with the
Pearl's
exception of
here.
G plus
Hey, it's A plus G. Get it right. My name goes
A,
first.
okay, A plus G 2020.
Everybody say hi to Pearl. Hi, Pearl.
Hi, Pearl.
She missed me. She's been extra needy. So yeah.
That does not surprise me in the least. Ooh, hey,
So I'm here. I'm ready. Watched the movie just now, so I'm ready to go.
like I said, literally both of us finished that movie right before. Well, not right before, but So yeah. So for those of you who don't know, we came up with the idea of um, re-recording some of our audio only episodes because we did good numbers in the beginning, but we've had this overwhelming explosion of success the last
Yes.
probably 18 months since we launched the YouTube channel. So we thought, why not take some time and go back in time and revisit some of these other episodes that we only just did audio recordings for?
Yeah.
So we felt like this would be no, no, that's not the video.
Pearl.
Um, what?
What's your problem?
You might have to multitask and send it to me
Oh, okay.
because
I thought you already had it.
no, I have it like ready to
Pearl.
go, but it says it can't save
Oh, okay.
for some stupid reason. I don't know why.
Are you trying to save it from Facebook?
Yes,
Oh, that's not going to work. Okay. I'll Pearl. She's like rubbing up against everything here. Like, come on, stop it.
she's horny.
Yeah, get a room. Now she's fixed, but I guess she's still got the
That
urge.
just because you've got the snip snip doesn't mean that you still don't like to.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl, no, no. You're gonna turn off the thing. All right. So anyway, yeah, we're here to discuss a movie.
Yeah. So we posted a list of various episodes going. Well, I went back and pulled up like the first 25 episodes we did of an evening at the movies, and um, I posted a poll on the Facebook group page and asked everybody to vote for which one they thought they would like to see redone as a video first. And today's episode is one of the top 10 vote getters that we had.
Nice.
Um, some of the others, I know Amanda's really excited to re record Stand By Me again for the.
We are not re-recording that, are we?
It was the number one vote getter.
Damn, did that episode suck that bad? Even though we did it twice.
No, it didn't. Up until YouTube, it was probably one of the top three listened to episodes of all time.
Nice.
And that was after we redid it. And I'm still one of those people that honestly believes that you know, you can't re-record something, recapture the magic from the original recording.
Right.
So the fact that it's still one of the top listened to episodes, audio only, that says a lot about how good we are as
Yeah,
an amazing co-host team.
I think so
So,
too.
uh, so um, while I am uploading and downloading and all the loadings, we are
Yeah.
here to the movie we did decide to discuss because there is a valid reason why we opted to discuss this movie. Is
Yes.
we're going to go all the way back and we're going to revisit the 74th annual Hunger Games.
Woo.
So,
Yeah, man,
uh,
what a great series of books, and so glad we're getting a new one, and I already can't wait
oh, I'm
for the new
chomping at the bit
movie.
for this one because
Yeah.
when the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, I believe you and Shanna both got a message from me that said, "Oh my God, I'm down for various prequel books." And one of the first ones that I suggested was going back and revisiting Haymitch.
Yeah. Yeah, George and I talked about that too. I was like how bad I would love a Haymitch prequel because when we get into the talking about this particular movie, there's a lot of things about Haymitch that I think aren't considered when you're watching this particular movie and his character that I'm going to point out. And I really hope that I feel like this prequel book is probably only going to talk about his younger life and his Hunger Games. But my hope is kind of that it talks really kind of starts with his Hunger Games and talks about what happens going forward for him as a mentor.
Yeah, the initial plot description doesn't give a whole lot of backstory because, okay, hopefully it's been out long enough so I feel safe enough to spoiler alert for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But that prequel is solely focused on President Snow before he was President Snow.
Right, like a very young Snow. Like it doesn't even go into
Like, yeah,
yeah.
he's still.
They could do a whole second book about Snow if they wanted. But I think that would be too much.
Well, we still have. I mean, we got some good backstory as to who he is and where he came from,
Right.
but we still haven't gotten the full arc of how he got from
To be so
point
evil.
point A to what we get in the first movie,
Right.
because there's definitely way big differences between
Yeah.
those two characters. And
I think
at the
by
end of
the
the
end I think by the end of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, when you see him do the first like betrayal, evil kind of thing,
Mhm.
you can just make the assumption that it goes downhill from there. That he, it snowballs off that one main, two main things that happen, which I
Mhm.
won't spoil in case people have seen it. But he basically betrays someone really close to him, and there's a love story that doesn't quite work out. Like that's what I'll say. And so from that, you
Yeah.
can assume that it just builds on itself going forward. You don't really need an
So
explanation.
it it very much is a very cliche downward spiral.
Yeah.
Like, I would feel comfortable in comparing it to um, Anakin Skywalker going from sweet little innocent
Yes.
Annie getting rescued on Tatooine to the descent into becoming Darth Vader.
Right. Yeah.
Because
It's
at the
very
end of the
similar.
day, Vader and Snow are very, very evil people. And
Except I don't think Snow would give his life for his own child. If I'm being honest, I think maybe even Vader is a little more feeling than
y-
Snow.
so we're not going to discuss the whole original trilogy. We're just going to talk about part one. But there's no redemption of Snow by the end of Mockingjay Part 2.
Yeah.
He's evil and he may or may not get what's coming to him. Again, not going to spoil it because eventually the idea was to get all the way through the series,
Yeah.
but
So we'll just talk about this one.
we've only discussed the one so far. So, but we'll get back to that. So, Hunger Games Part 1, Jennifer Lawrence. I am all here for talking about the amazing wonderment that is the Jennifer Lawrence.
Uh-huh.
Hey, one of my favorite things about her is she has literally, like, if you all think Amanda has no verbal filter on her mouth, Jennifer Lawrence has zero, like negative zero
Yeah,
verbal filter on her mouth.
she's really funny. Well, she
So,
didn't originally even want to do this movie because she was afraid she would get typecast.
typecast.
And for those that don't know, she went into this movie already with an Oscar under her belt. So she was already an established, did mostly indie movies, but she didn't want to get typecast into this particular role. And luckily, she really hasn't. Although I think Silver Linings Playbook probably was still I honestly, well, we're gonna get into it, but I think her portrayal in the Hunger Games movies are fantastic. but I think everything since maybe quite hasn't been as good, but I don't think she was typecast.
I
I don't
think
know.
she definitely grew into the. I'm not saying her performance in this first movie is a horrible performance. I don't think it's her best performance in the series, though. She definitely grew into the role, at, and I think
No.
as this movie went along, I think you can see just how much she, even in this movie, she was starting to grow into the role as, and we're gonna get into that
Well,
too
it's
and
the
discuss.
character growing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff that happens beginning, middle, and that is something that almost any actor of substance would be willing to sink their teeth into and play the role. So, but
Yeah.
before we get into all of that, for those of you who do not know, uh, Jesus God, almost 13 years ago to the day, this movie released on March 23rd, 2012. It was directed by Gary Ross, released by Lionsgate, had a $78 million budget. Um, yeah, save that wow until you hear what the box office number was.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Um, with adjectives pulled out, 695.2 million dollars.
Yeah.
And again,
Well, I think
this this franchise hadn't even, it had exploded to this point, but it's going to explode even more as you get further and further. Like when you pull into Catching Fire and then Mockingjay Part One, Mockingjay Part Two.
right.
So
Well,
I'm
I think what we have to understand as people our age, um, is that the Hunger Games books were kind of like the next Twilight, where young adults knew about them because they were a young adult series, but older people probably didn't really know about them until the movies came out, which is kind of the same with this. Until we heard they were making movies, unless you had kids that were reading them, Twilight was like freaking huge. Stephanie Meyer is one of the richest people on the planet. I
yeah,
imagine Suzanne Collins was doing the same, and then now that they have the movies, because I didn't read the books until after I had seen all but the last movie. Not Songbirds and Snakes, but the last original books.
Mockingjay Part Two.
Right. So I had seen Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay Part 1, and then I went back and read the books. So Mockingjay Part 2 was the only one I had gone into where I had read the book first.
So
So,
I was slightly different than you. Um, I had heard a little bit of talking about the franchise before, literally like right before um, Hunger Games came out,
yeah.
and I sat down and went through all three books like back to back to back. Like I'm generally not a super fast reader, but these three books were like I'm sitting here page turn, page turn,
They
page turn.
read really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was hard to put these books down.
Yeah.
So um so yeah, 600 and what 95 million dollars
Ooh,
in the box office. If you have not seen the movie, shame. Well, for one, shame on you.
yeah.
For two, um, sucks to be you because it's not available to stream anywheres.
I know. Unless you would pay for it,
That
obviously. Yeah.
well, yeah, I paid to rent it on the Prime because I couldn't find my yeah
I have it.
DVD.
Could you not get onto. Oh, okay.
It wouldn't let me on to um,
Really?
uh,
When did you
certain
try?
while you were on vacation.
Okay, so something was wrong with it because we had to reboot the server yesterday. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it was only $3.99 to rent it. So
Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, that's one of my Blu-ray collections I still kept too. But anyway, all right, Hunger Games.
yes. So if you need to see it, it's only available to rent, but it's also one of those that you could probably go into Walmart and buy a 4-pack of DVDs for 25, $30 too. Possibly even a 5-pack with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes too. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's that expensive or that much of a pocket breaker to um, pick up said movie. But for those of you who have been missing out and going through Rotten Tomato withdrawals, are we ready to see how bad Amanda's guessing got left behind in the Jamaica?
I guess.
Okay.
Okay. So again, for those that don't know, I am definitely whorish when it comes to my rating system and what I think people should rate stuff. Because Hunger Games came out after Rotten Tomatoes was a thing or close to when Rotten Tomatoes became a thing, I'm going to say it's probably pretty well liked by both critics and audiences. Um, I mean, star-studded cast, epic, it's a big epic type dystopian movie and everything's pretty good about it. So, I'm going to go tomato meter 83%. Popcorn meter, I'm going to go 90%. I'm probably way overshooting it, but
You weren't totally off the mark. Uh, or tomato meter, which is the critics. Um, hi Griffey. Um, 84% on
oh,
300,
okay.
314 ratings.
Okay. That was real close.
And then the popcorn meter was on 250,000 plus reviews, 81%.
Oh, wow. I did not
So,
expect the popcorn meter to be that low. That's interesting.
no, I didn't either. That was the one that surprised me the most.
Huh. Okay.
But I'm I'm not justifying it by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, it's one of those where there were parts of the book that got cut it out.
Yeah, but not much. I mean, and I know we'll get to that, but
No,
I feel like the movie played really close to the book. The biggest difference, which did make a difference in the movie, is that the book is written from a first story or first person narrative, which you can't, it's hard to do in a movie without it being weird. They want to do voiceovers or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, but I thought it was pretty faithful to the book. I mean, compared to some other movies we've seen, but hmm. Can't hear you, buddy. Can't hear you. Womp 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 womp.
wah, 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 wah.
There we go.
Alrighty, are you ready to tell the amazing listeners what the Hunger Games is all about?
I am. I have a few quick fun facts first. Um, I looked up
Oh,
a few just to see if there was anything cool. Um, this one shouldn't be a surprise. There was a huge boom in interest in archery after this movie came out, which I think is pretty cool. Um,
huge.
yeah. Donald Sutherland wrote a 3-page letter to the producers and director of the movie asking to play President Snow. Like they didn't offer it to him or anything. He had read the books and he wanted to do it. I thought that was cool.
It honestly felt like even reading the book, like
Yeah.
he would be the perfect person to play President Snow.
Yeah. There were several people that auditioned for Katniss. Haley Steinfeld, they said, was actually a really big contender. And I think she could have done it, but I think she might have been a little too empathetic. But I don't know. I like her. I think she's really cute. But what the? Why are there two
Did it?
Caseys on screen? Okay. Um. Anyway,
Just
they said
continue. I'm working on getting
okay.
something
Okay.
transferred
So
over to.
Shailene Woodley auditioned for it and obviously didn't get it, but I feel like she would have been a great Katniss, which worked out well for her because they cast her in Divergent, um, which is a Hunger
Yes,
Games esque series of novels and books as well. And Shailene Woodley's amazing; she was so good in those.
it's Hunger Games light.
Yeah, it's Hunger Games adjacent. Um, Lenny
Yes.
Kravitz was handed his part as Senna. They basically called him up and said, "We think you'd be perfect for this. We need a sympathetic character. If you want it, it's yours." So I thought that was pretty cool because he's amazing. Elizabeth Banks had to have
Lenny
help.
Kravitz is one of. I was just gonna say Lenny Kravitz is one of the handful of people that stole this fucking movie.
Hmm. Yeah. They said Elizabeth Banks had to have help going to the bathroom in between takes because of how long Effie's nails were. I thought that was funny.
Well, you look at how elaborate her costumes were
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. The costumes are amazing. Let's keep that in mind when we get to my epic Chansey like meltdown later. Um,
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence refused to lose weight for the role. They wanted her to lose weight, and she said no because this is a character young girls should be looking up to. Why are we going to try to make her unattainable? Um, and last, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for this because this sounds so hilarious and it sounds so just like him. Woody Harrelson would always tease Jennifer Lawrence about her Oscar. Like they said, anytime she would like flub a line, he'd be like, "Oh, better give that Oscar back."
Eh,
So that was just a few things I found that cracks me up. There's one other fun fact that's not really a fun fact, and that I will be saving that for meltdown time. All right,
well, that's convenient.
huh?
I said, well, that's convenient.
Yeah. Okay, the Hunger Games. In what was once North America, the capital of Panem maintains its hold on its 12 districts by forcing them to each select a boy and a girl, called tributes, to compete in a nationally televised event called the Hunger Games. Every citizen must watch as the youths fight to the death until only one remains. District 12 tribute Katniss Everdeen has little to rely on other than her hunting skills and sharp instincts in an arena where she must weigh survival against love. Dun dun dun.
Intrigue and espionage
Exactly.
abound.
Exactly.
So, all right. So that sums up the plot very well. Um, well, I mean, was there anything you hated about the movie? Let's just rip the band-aid off and get right to it because I feel like there's going to be a wealth of stuff to sing the praises for,
Yeah.
but there may not be as much negative to talk about, so we may as well get that out of the way right off the bat.
Not not really. I mean, at least from an objective standpoint,
Hmm.
the imagery is great, the storytelling's great, there's nothing about it that just like stands out to me as like, "Oh my god, really?" Um I thought it was pretty faithful to the book. There's a few things I kind of wish they would have kept in, but obviously this is like a 3-hour movie already, or 3.5 hours, so it's long.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I honestly can't really think of anything about it that I hated or that I didn't even really like. It's just, yeah, I don't know. What do you have anything?
Honestly, no. This was one of those movies that I came into. The first time I watched it, I was expecting the book to get hacked up and butchered, and a whole bunch of stuff left all over the damn floor. And I was actually pleasantly surprised because this is right about the same time ish that like the Harry Potter franchise is starting to wrap up. And one of the big complaints that a lot of the book fans had about that franchise was a lot of key stuff got chopped up and left on the floor.
Think about how long those books are. And there's like 8 movies. How many movies are there? Aren't there like 8 or 7 or something like that? Like,
Uh, 8 movies, 7 books, but yeah,
I
because they
get
split
it,
the final.
but damn, when you see how big those books are, how long they are, like, I don't know.
So,
That's I get it, but that's too much. Even what I don't know. That's a lot to consolidate into a movie, is what I'm saying. Like, but I get it.
well, so for those of you who don't know, um, there's a little streaming service called HBO Max, who is rebooting the classic that is Harry Potter.
Say what?
They're rebooting Harry Potter.
Like a limited series, or they're just making a new movie?
They're it's each series is going to focus on 1 year of the franchise. So, like the first series is going to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The second one is going to be
Right.
your favorite Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
I don't see that doing well. I feel like Harry Potter is so etched in people's minds that it's one of those things you can't cast other people in. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't even seen all the movies, and I feel like Harry Potter is so associated with Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and
Rupert Grant
yeah,
and
like just
all of them.
and
Yeah,
Alan Rickman, who isn't with us anymore, and but I just feel like I mean I don't know. I'm sure people will watch it. I mean, people watch all the new Star Wars shit, but it's also like those things aren't remaking what's already been done. They're just spin-offs of whatever.
yeah.
I feel like people are gonna have a hard time watching that, but guess we'll see.
So yeah, no, that's one of those ones that I feel like myself and the twinges from Mount Sipmore will tackle when next we reconvene to discuss Jen's birthday episode and her birthday movie,
Yeah.
because we're the ones that have focused on discussing and bringing the Harry Potter movies to life for everybody. So, but back to my point though, the main part is like for the most part these movies were pretty faithful to the book.
Yeah.
The only one I'm not 100% sure on because I think I only watched it one time and I didn't read the book as closely would be the back half of Mockingjay, so Mockingjay Part 2.
Oh, I have a complaint about Mockingjay Part 2 when we get to it.
Oh, okay.
I have a
We're
complaint.
still
Yeah.
we're
We're
still a
ways
good
away, but
3 episodes away from
when
that.
we get to that one, there is a part in that movie that they did not follow closely to the book, and it pissed me off because in the book it was way more effective and emotional than it was in the movie. So, anyway. All right. So,
I
I
honestly think that you and I might be on the same page because that's one of those moments that I saw it and it kind of turned me off and it made me really
Is it
not
about
want
Gale and Katniss? Okay, then we might be talking about the
see,
same thing. Okay. So,
but no spoilers. But all right, good stuff about this movie. Let's start the epically long list of great stuff about this movie.
Well, I was gonna. So I wrote down, like, yeah, I wrote down some stuff and comments. That's sorry. That's why I keep looking away. But so I haven't read the books in a few years, but I don't know that
Same.
this is ever addressed, or at least it's not in the first book. At the beginning, so we know that they're forced to watch the Hunger Games. And this in the movies, they don't really, Gail kind of says, "Well, what if we just don't watch?" And she's like, "That's not going to happen." In the books, it's made pretty clear that it's basically like a law. You have to watch it. Now, the people in the Capitol cheer and go crazy
Yeah.
over it because they don't have to participate. But Katniss says to Gail at the beginning that she's never having kids. Do you? I feel like in a place like Panem, they would be forced to have kids because otherwise there's no tributes. Or it lowers
Yep.
the pool of tributes, making other kids more likely to be picked. Like, because if I was a woman in that scenario, I would absolutely not have children. If they all stop having children, I feel like that's something that's not addressed that should be, because then you're throwing a little handmaid's tale in there. But I would feel
Hmm.
like they have to force the women to have kids, because otherwise, no sane woman would. I mean, I'd be like, this shit stops with me. Sorry.
Well, because even Gale said the same thing about if he has to stay in District 12. No, he wouldn't want to have kids
Right.
either. But
Yeah.
that it gets brought up that fuck it, why don't we just freaking leave and go and see how far
Yeah.
we can get?
Yeah.
And she's all like, well, you probably wouldn't even make it 5 miles. And he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't know what, I mean, you think the same way? Like, I feel like maybe that's something that maybe if anybody's listening or watching and that is addressed in one of the books, definitely let me know. I don't remember it. I feel like that would have stuck with me, but I feel like maybe Suzanne Collins kind of missed an opportunity there with that. Or maybe it
I
just isn't
think she did.
important enough, but because that could be a good part of the rebellion. But again, maybe she didn't want to rip off Handmaid's Tale or whatever. I get that, but and these are, still young people, but I feel like that could have been a good part of maybe one of the books as part of the story, is like just a side story of the women are all meeting up secretly, going, "We're gonna find a way to." I don't know. Anyway, that just occurred to me while I was watching this. That probably not necessary, but could have been a cool, like, side plot of the rebellion. Maybe it's because we're living in
Yes.
dystopian times. Um.
Well,
Anyway,
I mean, I was going to bring up the fact that, and normally we don't go down this road on evening at the movies, but how fitting is it that, yeah, it
yeah.
it's not word for word, beat for beat, similar like art over artistry, but there's definitely some eerie similarities between the two worlds, real life and fictional life.
Oh yeah, for
Just
sure.
saying.
Um,
President Tangerine.
right.
I mean, oh shit, President Snow.
Oh, and
Oops.
this is yeah. This is another interesting kind of fun fact. I don't know if people know, but um, it's it's weird because you get the feeling, and I don't know if Suzanne Collins has said this or not. I know she said she was inspired to write these books um, because of the Iraq War. Like, she was watching stuff on TV and watching kids like having to
Mhm.
fight to survive or whatever. But obviously, if you read the books and you watch this, you can tell Pan Am is like a parallel to ancient Rome. Like, it's very, we're gonna we're gonna keep this section of people over here and make them the worker bees, but all these people that are more powerful and rich, we're going to feed them and we're going to entertain them and we're going to do all these things so that they are distracted from what the rest of the world is. Like, they're so desensitized, but they're also distracted from what all the districts are going through, because they make this big show of these games. Like, 'cause you watch it and you
Well,
go,
did
"How
that
can
and
people be
it's
celebrating this?" But they're just so they're they're brainwashed. And, of course, it
it
doesn't affect them, so
well,
they don't
and
care.
Pan Am is very regionalized where like you can almost they don't discuss it as much in the movie, but there is a nice little portion in the early chapters of the book where they talk about each of the different 13
Mhm.
districts.
Well,
Um,
12, they don't talk about 13 in
12,
this book.
well, no, they talk about it in the book, but they also talk about the fact that 13 kind of drifted off into obscurity, and
Well, no,
it's the reason for
I think they say 13 was destroyed because you don't know 13 is
well that
even still a thing until Mockingjay.
yeah, that makes sense.
But, yeah,
Well, you
anyway,
that
sorry, I know what you're getting
yeah,
at.
that would yeah. So, but they're talking about like each of the different like 12 like District 12 is very rich in like coal mining and
Right.
things like that. And then each of the different districts has their own little niche, for lack of a better word.
And they're all providing their
That
resources to the capital. That's what they exist for.
yeah, and basically, like when I envision it, I envision like the capital being in like Denver, Colorado, because it has to be somewhere kind of
Centralized.
central to the
Yeah.
everybody else. Yeah, and then just like everything from the outlying areas just feeds into that one centralized location.
You know what, though? Now I wanna see, and maybe there is one in one of the movies, I don't remember. I wanna see a map of Pan Am. I'm sure they show them in Mockingjay because I don't feel like the Capitol would put itself in the center. That would leave it too open, too, easily to be
And
attacked.
that very well could be.
But I don't know. You know what's
Well,
interesting, though, that I wish they would have kind of focused on from the book to the movie, or I don't know how they could have included it because, again, the book is written first person narrative. Um,
yeah.
but
Huh.
we obviously
That's
know that
ironic.
what? I can't see that.
I went to Google it
Oh,
and
nice.
typed in map, and the first thing that popped up is map of Pan Am.
It can hear us, I know. Everybody's all worried about
Ex-
TikTok stealing our information, like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk can't hear everything we're saying when we're online. Anyway, um, I
So I
feel like
found a map of Pan Am, and I will post it in the Facebook group for everybody to see.
okay. So, what I was saying was that, in the movie, we don't get a lot of information about the Capitol, about the people. We just see them celebrating all this and watching it, whatever. And yeah, like I said, it definitely gives off, Colosseum vibes in Rome. But in the book, they do kind of address why, because obviously they take all the victors to the Capitol in these fancy trains, they put them up in these fancy rooms, or not victors, tributes, and they, pamper them and butter them up. And it's like, why do they do that? Well, in the book, it kind of says even the people in the Capitol don't want to see starved children fighting each other. Like they're, even though they're desensitized, they're not quite that desensitized.
Yeah.
So it's like they got to fatten them up. Oh, sorry. I
In
have Catching
fair,
Fire on, and I forgot that she hangs the peacekeeper's costume and writes Seneca Crane on it.
uh,
Uh, Speaking of him, the
uh,
first time I first watched Yellowstone, I was like, Seneca Crane, is that you?
yeah.
Jamie Dutton, if people don't
Just
know, he's
again one yeah, again one of those moments where I was rewatching I rewatched like half of it last night and then I finished my rewatch this morning. And at one point I literally picked up my phone and texted Amanda fucking Jamie Dutton send, and she's like, I literally was just saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely some differences between the two characters. Like to me, Jamie Dutton is not redeemable in any way, shape, or form. Little wheezy little cocksucker.
Yeah.
Um, Seneca, on the other hand,
I mean, he was just doing his job.
he was doing his job, but I think there was intent somewhere in the middle ground of his mind where he was trying to do the right thing, which also leads to his payoff at the end of the movie with
Yeah.
the
The poison berries. It's so great. It's so great.
yeah. Well, and that right there just goes to show the level of darkness and evilness in the heart of President Snow because it's like he has, you know, their stormtroopers lead him into this freaking room and lock him in the room, and then he walks up to this freaking bowl in the middle of the room and bam, all it has in the bottom is a handful of poison berries.
Yeah. And it's like
And then,
Seneca had to know he was being marched to his death. But
oh yeah,
it 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 does, especially in this first movie, President Snow has very few lines. He has very little impact. But that
but
piece
what
by
he
itself,
says,
that speaks volumes without him even having to be in the scene or say a fucking word. Like
yeah,
that just goes to the power of that character, which we have to credit Suzanne Collins for, and then definitely Donald Sutherland. The way that he was able to show so much ruthless impact with so little dialogue, that last scene still made you go and he wasn't even in the fucking room. Like
no,
it's amazing.
see, and
That's a
to me that
performance.
that says a lot, and it's not just Donald Sutherland, but it's Woody on top of it. It's Jennifer Lawrence. It's Josh Hutcherson. It's Liam Hemsworth. It's like they took what Suzanne Collins wrote and brought it to life
Yeah.
in a very real way that I think a lot of people can sit down and relate to some aspect of the story, if not the whole entire story.
Yeah.
So, 100% hats off to all of them, and then as well Suzanne Collins for
Yeah.
creating such a real, vivid world
Yeah.
that and that I know it's kind of cliche and tongue in cheek to say this, but what we got visually on the screen when this movie came out was almost word for word, image for image, how I envisioned the different visuals to be.
Yeah, and see, that's good to hear because, for me, like I said, I saw the movie first. And so when I read the book, of course, I'm picturing all of this, but also I can sometimes do a good job of reading a book and separate it from the movie. And I feel that way too. But, since you read the book first, you saying that definitely means, yeah, her imagery and writing was very good. And then what they brought to life, I mean, everything in all of these movies, all the imagery is so stunning. All the costumes, all the sets, all the, it's just, yeah, stunning is like the perfect word for all of it.
Even like that costume that Katniss and PETA wore in the parade before the
Yeah,
Hunger Games, like
where they're on fire. Yeah.
literally she was
The
the girl on
sky is
fire.
on fire. Yeah, the costumes and everything. Um, oh crap, what was I gonna say? Oh, one of the things that's hilarious. Well, I mean, it's not hilarious. It's really insulting, but it's just so cruel. Like, when President Snow comes out and what does he say? He says, "This is a pageant of honor, courage, and sacrifice." You can't fucking call it that unless they volunteer. It's not courageous or a sacrifice if they're being forced to do it. It's state sanctioned murder. But it's like these fucking capital people just eat it up. They're just like, "Oh," and and these capital people aren't making fun of them. They're watching this like it's a game, like it's not real life. They're rooting for these characters. That's what they are to them. They're characters. Like they're so detached from the fact that these are children. 12 to 18-year-olds. 12-year-olds.
Yep.
I mean, when you see Rue next to Kato, like yeah,
Yeah.
it's so infuriating.
Well, okay, that's almost a perfect segue into another point that I wanted to bring up too, with like the whole like Jennifer growing into and maturing through the role as well as she did from point A to point B. Like it literally starts like that moment at the
Sorry, Pearl's licking
when
my
you
arm and
like.
it tickles.
Well, I'm glad you laughed now and interrupted me now
Sorry,
instead of waiting until
sorry.
I got to my "I'm not crying, you're crying" moment.
Oh no.
But that's one of those like this movie is one of those movies like The Green Mile that I don't care how many times I see it. It is at least got two moments in this movie where I am good for and I'm not crying, you're crying moment
Oh,
every
I'm
time I
crying.
see it. And one of them is like that initial moment at the reaping in the beginning when, especially after she reassures her sister, it's your first time being in the reaping, you're not going to get drawn, don't worry
Mhm.
about it, blah 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 blah. Foreshadowing.
Yeah, of course.
Y- you say you're gonna not gonna happen, and then obviously it's gonna happen. But you still have that moment where her name, like Effie draws her name out of the bowl and reads it off, and she has that, oh fuck, what am I
Yeah,
gonna do? As she's slowly, you know, wandering herself up to the damn stage before Katniss jumps out and literally screams, you know, I volunteer, and
yeah,
she sacrifices herself for her sister. Because at the same time, the whole thought process at that point is nobody from District 12 ever wins. Like
right.
they've only had, I think, the one winner in history, and that was Haymitch. Because you have other districts that basically breed people for the Hunger Games, and that's
Well,
like,
yeah, like 1 and 2, their careers. They train their entire lives and then they volunteer. Like
yeah,
so they're never sending a young kid, which is so unfair. But they start training them so young that every year there's an 18-year-old that can just volunteer and they almost always win because that's all they're trained to do their whole life. It's such bullshit.
yeah, exactly. So, Prim knows that by her sister volunteering, more than likely her sister is going to die.
Yeah.
Katniss knows that by volunteering, I'm saving my sister from dying, but at the same time, I'm probably going to die.
Right. And she's
There's,
the breadwinner of the family.
yeah, like, what the hell's going to happen now? I mean, she makes the deal with um, Gale that he's going to, do the hunting for him and all of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good that they have that close of a relationship that, you know, when I'm gone, please, you know, do your
Right.
duty, even though you have other responsibilities yourself. But, and then the other moment is that freaking moment where Rue gets killed in the middle of the movie.
And
Like,
she sings to her and makes the little like the flowers and oh god. And then the little to the district.
the way I always looked at it was she rebelled against capital authority before that, leading up to that. That moment, though, you almost can see Katniss becoming Rage
Yeah.
for, lack of a better, I'm going to steal John Doe's line from Seven,
Yeah.
but it's
Become
like
rich.
she's literally going from I'm going to rebel against the system, blah 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 blah, to all right, fuck this shit. I'm
Yeah.
getting my hands dirty. I'm tired of this shit. We're going to fight, and it only continues to grow deeper and deeper as we get further into this movie, or not the movie, but the franchise, because so much more happens in Catching Fire, and then by the time you get to the two Mockingjay movies, whoo, Lord.
Well, she
But
definitely saw Rue. She saw Prim in Rue, and she wanted to
oh yeah,
protect her. And and again, it's just nobody wants to see little children die. Like, I mean, it's like
and that's
that's
literally what
girls
Rue
my
was.
sister's age.
Yeah.
One thing that isn't really explained in the movie that they do explain in the book, they kind of hint at it when, she's asking Gail how many times his name was in the draw, and he said 42. So in the book, they explain it better that
Hmm.
your name is entered once for every year that you're eligible. So if you're 18, you're getting an extra, six entries because you were eligible starting at 12. But then you can, I guess, volunteer to have your name entered more times to give you special access to supplies once you're in the arena. So,
Yeah.
that kind of, but they don't really explain that in the movie, but because you're kind of like, why is his name in there 42 times? Um, so for people that don't know, they kind of explain that in the book. Um, oh crap, what was I gonna say? I guess I don't know. There's a couple other things that are different from the book. I don't know if we want to talk about that real quick.
No, that's what do you got?
Well, I was thinking about it because we were talking about Rue's death, and so in the movie, you get the District 11, them watching it, and their little rebellion thing. I was glad that they put that in for the movie, just so because you want to get that emotion, but obviously that wasn't in the book because Katniss couldn't have known that was happening. So
Yeah.
you get more of that in the later books, but um, I thought that was a good, I mean, it's like 30 seconds, but I thought that was a good addition to kind of see, you know, what they were going through. I kind of wish they could have done this, but I don't really know why they didn't, except maybe it just wasn't that relevant. But at the end, when they create those mutts to chase after him, they're mutations, and in the book, they look partially like the dead tributes. Like they look like a
Yeah.
dog, like that. You're supposed to imagine a dog like with the faces or the eyes like the dead tributes. So it's like double traumatizing. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and you don't really get to see that a whole lot in the movie. I mean, it's dark at the time, which
Maybe
kind
that's
of
why they
helps.
did it because it you wouldn't have seen it as well. Um,
Because I think my concern would have been like it could have looked hokey, like
True.
the Rock in The Mummy Returns when they basically have him as that scorpion in the final battle.
Yeah, I guess
So
that's true. I get that. Um, in the book, PETA loses his leg, which did not happen in the movies. I don't really know why they made that change. I mean, it's not that important to the story, I guess, because they don't make it a big deal in the books. I don't feel but that leg injury, his leg ends up getting amputated. So
yeah, they make a bigger deal about the
infection or whatever.
well, I was going to say future traumatic events
Well,
because
yes. Yeah.
I'm trying not to spoil what's to come
God.
down the road.
Poor PETA. PETA fucking suffers. And what's crazy is the other movies eh, don't even, I would say, show about half of what he actually goes through. It's
Yeah,
insane.
like he
Um
is an emotional punching bag from point A to
Yeah,
they live happily ever after,
that poor
or
boy.
don't live happily ever after, depending upon your perception.
And the last one, and I'm sure they did this for time, and I can't decide how I feel about it. On one hand, I like that they did it. On the other hand, it's like the pettiness in me kind of wishes they would have showed it. But again, they're all still kids. I don't know. Cato's death in the book goes a lot longer. Those mutts chomp on him all night before Katniss decides to mercy kill him.
Yeah,
And she does it because he asks her to. Um, so it's like he's such obviously they want him to be the biggest villain of all the tributes, but he doesn't know any better. It's the way he was raised. It's the way he was trained. And what is he going to
nature
do?
versus
Not fight
nurture.
for? Was he not going to fight for his life? So it's like, yeah, he's a brutal killer, but he was groomed that way. He didn't
Mhm.
choose that. So it's like, do we really want to watch him suffer? A little of me does, and a little of me is like, no, we don't need to see that.
No, that yeah, there's a good metaphor I could throw out at this point, but I feel like not because we're still trying to force Amanda to watch a certain franchise movie, and I don't want to spoil that for her.
Oh, okay.
So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, come by the end of the movie, the whole Kato thing and the other career tributes as well. But it's all very much nature versus nurture.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
they are raised to be ruthless, unthinking, cold killers.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to be to win. And along with winning comes, all these accolades and whatnot that are showered upon the winner, but also, you know, showered upon the districts as well. So,
Yeah. But the
you know,
capital
that,
owns you. I
yeah,
mean, you're forced to be a mentor. Which in Songbirds and Snakes that wasn't the original deal. I don't know when that became a thing because that wasn't how they. I wonder if we'll find that out in the new book when they started making the tributes be mentors.
yeah, I feel like this is definitely one of those franchises where there's a lot of different openings for prequel books that
Yeah,
we could get that might help fill in some of these gaps along the way and answer all these different questions.
and you know what's crazy? This was only supposed to be one book. When Suzanne
Hmm.
Collins wrote this, she had no intention of writing other books, but people wanted it so much that she did. And now, like, look at how much it's grown. It's insane. Um,
Yeah, it
okay, so let's talk about Haymitch for a second. Um,
Woody.
Woody Harrelson's fucking amazing. And
I
you
talked
people
about certain people stealing the movie clear and concisely. Woody
oh
Harrelson,
yeah,
100% stole this movie.
he's amazing. He's good comic relief, but he's going to tell you how it is. But I wish, and this is what I hope we get with the new one. People don't really think about this. Like Haymitch's character isn't much of a like obviously we know he's got to be traumatized because he's like a drunk and this and that or whatever. But if you really
Yeah,
think about this, how I think what they said it's been 23 years from the time he won to when Katniss and Peeta win. That means he has mentored 46 kids and watched them die. Like, can you imagine what that would do to a person? And so it's like,
well, I mean, it
he's a
makes
piece of shit. Well, no shit. Could you imagine having to do that?
well, yeah. If you go back and look at Peta and Katniss's first meeting with him on the train, when he stumbles in half freaking drunk and sits down in the chair, and they're like, "Okay, well, when do we start? What are you going to teach us?" And he looks at both of them and excuse me, It's like, okay, so you need to embrace the fact of your imminent death
Yeah,
and know that there is literally nothing I can do to stop that from happening.
yeah, and it's because
I mean,
he's
it comes
seen
from,
this
like you
movie
said,
before.
23 years of watching, you know, two people a year die.
Yeah, like, can you
You know,
imagine how that
he's the
fucks you
only
up?
District 12 winner.
Yeah,
So, talk about PTSD, Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
But obviously he's, he realizes Katniss is a force to be reckoned with, and so then he really does, because he really does turn it on. He gives them good advice. He trains them. He is fucking working for them while they're in the arena, or at least for Katniss. He is out there saving her life, trying to get her supplies. Like, he's being a really
Yeah.
good mentor because he actually thinks she can win. And it's, one of the sadder parts I feel like is when you know, she oh, here Griffey. Pete is talking about, he's like, I have no chance of winning. He was like, you know what my mom said? He was like, she said District 12 might finally have a winner. She wasn't talking about me. I was like, oh, that was a
Yeah.
punch in the gut.
Well, no, because that's the one thing that you would always hope for is that your parents are always there and always have your back. But then to have your mom literally is like, "Yay, we can finally have a winner, and it's not going to be you." It's like, how hard can you kick your son in the dick, lady?
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing we get more of in the books that we don't get in the movies. And I get why they didn't do it, but Peeta had a really shitty home life. So you get more information about that in the books that, his parents kind of didn't give a crap about him.
So that's definitely one thing I do want to encourage. If you watch these movies and love these movies and have not read the books yet, I highly recommend you go pick up these books
Yeah.
and read the books because as great as these movies are, the books are head and shoulders above the movies.
Yes.
So definitely 100%. Even if you're not a reader, these are books that I feel like everybody should read once in their life.
Yes. Okay. Um, is it rant time?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. So this movie came out in 2013, right?
2012.
Oh, it came out in 2012. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
13 years ago in 2012.
Okay. So, because I'm trying to see the hell was that me?
My, no, that was my phone.
Oh, I'm I am trying to find the right year. Um, for something. Okay. Um. All right. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. So, another fun fact about this movie, and actually all of the films in the series, they have received zero Oscar nominations. Every single movie. I am losing my shit over this. Okay. I don't understand how nothing from cinematography to costume
Costumes,
design to score to
special
all of the
effects.
acting to the screenwriting, how none of these movies have received any Oscar nominations. I'm so fucking pissed about it. Uh, James Newton Howard did the score. He was like an 8-time Oscar nominee. I don't think he's ever won. And I cannot fathom anybody in the Academy watching this movie and not thinking it deserved any of these accolades. Like, it got nominated for, like, MTV awards and shit.
Well, of course it did.
I
MTV
get that
is
it's, like, a
very
younger.
anti Academy Award.
I know, but it pisses me the fuck off that none of the hard work that went into this got recognized because, like, even the actors aside, the cinematography and the costume should definitely have gotten nominations for this. Like, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Adapted screenplay, I feel like it should have gotten nominated. And I was trying to look and see what other stuff got nominated that year, but I always mess it up because it's like the 2013 Oscars would be for 2012 movies, but sometimes it doesn't always look like that. So I
yeah.
was trying to look and see what other, but then
No, because
2013,
this came out in March of 2012. So yeah, this would definitely be a 2013 nomination.
but she had already, this says Silver Linings Playbook, and she already had her Oscar when she, unless that story was maybe for one of the other movies.
Uh,
That could be it. I don't know. Okay. But I'm just saying, okay, I'm not going to yell like Chancey usually does, even though I kind of want to, but shame on you, Academy of Motion Pictures, Science, and Arts, or however it goes. Fuck you
Motion picture
guys for
art
not
science.
recognizing any of this. Like, I just,
I wanted, even with a nomination, it should have been. I get it. There are, you know, only one movie can win, and it is an honor just to be nominated, quote unquote, wink, wink.
yeah. Okay, so
But
maybe,
it couldn't even warrant a nomination.
yeah. Maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying give it a Best Picture nomination because I'm looking at the other movies from that year, and we've got Silver Linings Playbook, Django Unchained, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Zero Dark 30, Argo, Les Mis, and a couple others. So I probably
Great
wouldn't put
movies.
it in the Best Picture category when we've got all of those. But it should have at least gotten something for score, for cinematography, for costume design.
Oh yeah.
Definitely costume design. How, among those movies, how do you not get a costume design? I want to see who else was nominated that year for costume design because that is one of the best
Well, and
things about this movie and the series. So who do we got?
like we said too earlier, with like the parade outfit that she and Peta wore, the dress that she wore for the sit down interview with Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. But it's not even just Katniss's outfits. It's
No,
everyone in the, I mean, Effie, holy fucking shit. Like, okay, so for costume design, we had Anna Karenina, Les Mis, Lincoln, Mirror Mirror, and Snow White and the Huntsman. Okay, Hunger Games should have easily been in there. I don't,
I personally would take Snow White and the Huntsman out
I don't think I would. I think I would take out probably,
and put the Hunger Games in.
I think I would take out
In
Mirror
my opinion.
Mirror. Yeah, but yeah. No, Snow White and the Huntsman is so visually beautiful. It's not just the costumes, but yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
that's my rant. I'm pissed off about it. Fuck the Academy. The Hunger Games has deserved some nominations.
Well, I mean, add it to the list of freaking complaints that we have against the Academy,
Yeah.
including the travesty that was this year.
Yeah. All
Not naming any names, but
right. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, I watched Anora on our flight home, and I've seen Anora and I've seen The Substance, and this has nothing to do with me liking horror or not. I think Demi should have won that. Mikey Madison, is it Madison? I can't remember her name. She was fucking amazing in Anora,
whatever.
but Anora was a weird. I can't decide how I feel about it. I think it was too long. I think that's what the deal was.
It boils down to the Academy does not
No,
appreciate
yeah,
horror
they hate
or
horror.
borderline horror.
Yeah,
Like I legit have okay, they said afterwards I read an article and we had this discussion where they said that this would have been the first time that an actress would have won for a horror movie since Natalie Portman won for Black Swan.
I don't count Black Swan as a horror movie, but that's just me.
I don't count the last one before that either, but
True.
six of one, half dozen of the other. Because the last time after, if you count Black Swan, the next time going back after that was Jodie Foster for Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, which is also not a horror movie. But I guess I will say Black Swan is a horror movie in the same way The Substance is a horror movie. So if they're gonna call it, I would give it that. Substance is more of a horror comedy as well, but um, Black Swan is just a mind fuck, and I'm glad Natalie Portman won that. She fucking deserved it. But
Well, and then after that, then you don't have to go as far back, but Kathy Bates.
yeah,
So as far as horror movies go, Kathy Bates, Jodie Foster, Natalie Portman.
that's it.
That's it. Demi Moore would have been the fourth horsewoman.
Did Mia Farrow not win?
I don't believe so.
Let's see. Oh, it was Best Supporting Actress. Okay, so she did, but it was Best Supporting Actress. But
So
yeah, the Academy
either way,
hates horror. Fuck them. They're stupid. I will never understand, and I think even the cheesy horror movies, it's like, okay, you don't have to give them Oscars, but some of these movies, like Get Out, deserved maybe not Best Picture, but it deserved. I don't even think it got any of the actor awards. I think there was nominations, but there are some horror movies that really did deserve. I mean, honestly, I think Scream deserved some nominations just for being groundbreaking and how meta it was. Like, yeah, it's a slasher movie, but I don't know. It's just fucking
yeah,
snobs up in the Academy.
yeah. Well, and there's some other issues with the Academy that have been discussed
Yeah,
after this year's Academy Awards, and some people that are no longer with us that got left on the cutting room floor
dare
of
you
the
disrespect Tony Todd, Olivia
y-
Hussey, Martin
there.
Mull.
Yeah, there was a handful of quality actors that got left out of the in memoriam package, and uh, oh god, who was it that died the day before Gene Hackman?
Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't make it in the video package, but Gene Hackman, who died a day later, did.
The okay, here's the only thing I will say about Michelle. I think they should have included her, but she was definitely more well known as a TV actress. I would be willing to bet that they will add her to the Emmy one next year. The Emmys had already happened this year. So, but yeah, still, there's no reason they should have left out Tony Todd or Martin Mull or Olivia Hussey.
Absolutely not.
I mean, that's just
I don't think there was a reason they should have left Michelle Trachtenberg out
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna include
because
agents and
there's other
shit, you can
people who,
include the actors.
yeah, there's other people that have been more TV actors that have been
True.
depicted in that
True.
tribute as well. So all of that aside, um, an evening at the movies may or may not be working on their own in memoriam tribute to those that are no longer with us. Um, I don't know when it would air, but we'll take a little time and put together something that we feel is worthy of those who are no longer with us, and you'll just have to tune in and find out when you get it.
You know what I think we should do? I'm just
What?
throwing this out here and volunteering us to do this. And I actually think maybe we have discussed this like years and years ago. Anybody that's listening or watching, I think maybe we should put up a poll and you can go to our Facebook page. I think we should hold our own Academy Awards. Let's pick
I don't see why not.
let's pick some movies from however long ago to now that didn't receive any nominations for categories. We'll pick them, or we can have add a couple people to help us. We'll do the important categories. We'll add the stuff, and we can have people vote on it, and we'll give out the awards on a live show. Fuck the
That's actually not
Academy.
a bad idea. I like that idea. And it goes
Being
along
smart.
with our new stance of not only fuck Rotten Tomatoes, but fuck the Academy as well.
Okay, well, if anybody likes that idea, message us or let us know, and maybe we can do a post to have people submit for each category their nominees. And I would say the
Yeah.
only stipulation was it had to have not been nominated for that category. So it can't have just not won. It has to have not been ever nominated, I would say, because otherwise that's way too many movies. So
And if any of you asshats freaking nominate Rubber, I will slap the shit out of you.
uh all
So
right. Well, I may start working on that behind the scenes then. So,
you you can start working on that. I will continue to work on our special in memoriam tribute that I brought up after the Academy Awards. Fuck the Academy Awards.
can it just be a whole tribute to Martin Mull with clips from Clue, and then a whole tribute to Tony
We
Todd?
may as well show the whole goddamn movie for Clue. I mean, shit, he's freaking priceless in that damn
This is
movie.
war, Peacock. You cannot make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Any cook will tell you that.
Look what happens in a cock.
Okay, now I want to watch Clue. Okay.
Right.
Before we
So
do our reviews, we didn't discuss this, but did you bring a top five?
I did not bring a top five.
Well,
We kind of sort of threw everything together at the last minute.
well, lucky for
Did
you,
you?
I did.
Woo!
So
What do you
I
got?
decided for this one to pick my top five dystopian movies. I am normally not a fan of these kind of movies, like as a genre. Um, but
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Hunger Games, and so I wrote down the other ones that I really like. Um, so number five, have the Divergent series. Check that out. Very good.
Yeah.
Number four, Idiocracy. Fucking love Idiocracy, and I feel like we're living in that movie now. um,
Look who the president is.
Number three, I think this counts, so I'm going to use it. Because again, I'm just not a big fan of some of the bigger ones that people would probably think of. But I picked the Truman Show for number three. Number two, I picked the Hunger Games
I
series.
would count that.
Yeah, I feel like the Truman Show counts.
Ooh,
Number two, the Hunger
number
Games
two.
series, and number one, Terminator 2. I had a thing for Edward Furlong, okay?
Oh, yeah. I
One
could
of the
see
few
because
movies that was better than the original.
Godfather 2.
That's what we should do a month of. We could easily, I think, find four movies that have a better sequel than the original.
I can almost guarantee you if we
I mean,
threw
T2.
Godfather 2 back on the schedule, we could probably dust Harvey off the shelf and have him join us.
For which one? Oh, Godfather 2. We already did Godfather 2, didn't we?
I don't remember. I'll
Yes,
have
we
to go back
did.
and look.
We
I
did.
remember doing one because we did it
Oh,
right after James Caan passed away.
okay. Maybe we only did the first one. Yeah, I think you might be right. So,
And it
yeah, I
was
mean,
literally right at the 50-year anniversary of that one coming out.
rest in peace, James Caan. And rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. I'm so sad he's gone. God, he's.
And and Gene Hackman
Yeah.
and Michelle Trachtenberg and Tony Todd
Well,
and
I was just
Sylvia
saying because
Heskey.
we're doing Hunger Games, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm still trying to kick the freaking Academy in the dick over that one. So, not that I'm bitter, but I'm bitter. So, what are your overall thoughts on the movie?
Um, I love it. Like I said, there's not really anything I don't like about it. The acting's great. The imagery is great. The storytelling is great. All the characters are really, epic cast. I mean, obviously, Elizabeth Banks so great as Effie. Just everybody was so good. You know
And
me.
even Elizabeth Banks grows into that role as we get deeper into.
I know. I love her character development. Um, 5 out of 5 Mockingjay pins. I love it.
So again, like Amanda said, obviously I can't say anything bad, honestly, about this movie or the franchise. Even well, we can get to other stuff later down the road when we get to the other 3 movies, 4 movies.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mockingjay Part 2 shit the bed at one part, and I'm still salty about it. But okay.
so we'll get to that in a handful of movies down the road. But no, the cast is phenomenal in this movie. Um, Jennifer Lawrence is amazing.
Yeah,
Um, Josh is amazing. Liam's amazing. Elizabeth Banks is amazing. Woody is a national treasure,
of course.
and it's not even the first great role that he has played either.
Oh, by far it's not, but it's yeah.
I feel like there are other movies that he's done that we could, you know, add into the mix and do a nothing but Woody month.
Yeah, we could.
Mm, that's what she said.
I could easily throw in a top 5 Woody movies if we did another one.
Oh, I've got some ideas, and some of which are movies that not many people bring up and talk about
Yeah.
on the regular like they should be. But well, Chancey and I did one last year that, oh my God,
Was it Zombieland?
Natural Born Killers. No,
Oh, yeah, that's
Natural Born
right.
Killers.
Yeah.
But um, I'm gonna go 5 out of 5 deadly poisonous berries
Nice.
because for the life of me, I forget exactly what they're called. Night something,
Yeah, Night something. I can't remember either, but yeah, you're right.
but you know, it works. So 5 out of 5. Dare I say, both of us are. If you have not seen this movie, we highly recommend you go pick one up. It is choice. So um, before we end the show, though, really quick, because I know it's getting both rather close to the times for your favorite host to have to go empty their bladders. Um,
Yes.
definitely want to thank everybody for the overwhelming success that um, our Gene Hackman tribute had over the last 2 weeks, and all the people that have watched and listened and enjoyed that episode, both of those episodes. Um,
Heck yeah.
Unforgiven is our most viewed episode to date, and Superman is number 3 right now behind the anniversary episode and Unforgiven. So number 2 and number 3 are both Gene Hackman movies. So thank you all for that, and thank you all for your guys' support. You guys are amazing. You are the reason why we keep coming back each and every week to do this. And um, with all of that said, we do have some plans coming up over the next few weeks. Um, the Twinjas will be here with me to do Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince. Hopefully, in the next week or two, we've also got a planned episode where um, Josh from Toontastic Journeys and Luana from everybody's favorite horror squad will be here to discuss Heretic, and then obviously more shenanigans as we continue into the 2025. But you can find us on all the social medias, and we will keep you updated there as to what's coming up and how it's coming up and what to expect. So thank you guys all for being here. Thank you, Amanda, for coming home in one piece.
Mhm.
A little bit more bruised, but at least no broken bones.
Yes.
So,
Speaking of that,
yes.
were you going to show the video?
It wouldn't upload to StreamYard.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll see if I can. I'll upload it to the page.
I posted it on the group page.
Oh, there you go.
So definitely 100%. If you guys are interested in seeing Amanda jump off a freaking big ass freaking cliff and make an ass out of herself,
Or land on her ass.
that too, then go to the Facebook group and I will. The video is already there, so you can watch and enjoy. And yeah, so whoop whoop. Um,
All
are you
right.
ready to take us home, co-host?
I am. Thanks everybody for being here, for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
This is mahogany.